Hello and welcome back to Game Brigade. I'm your host Brian, and on this show we do reviews, previews, and playthroughs of your favorite games. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Today on the show we're going to be taking a look at Burncycle by Chip Theory Games. I have been looking forward to this because for me personally, I'm a pretty big Chip Theory Games fanboy. So I want to dive deep into this game and see if it's worth backing for you. Before we get to that, we have a little bit of groundwork to lay. First off, again, thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to the channel. We should be, once this video is posted, we should probably be hitting around that 3,000 subscriber mark. That means we will have the giveaway for the Oath Sworn $99 pledge level to give out. So I'm going to be doing a channel update video as well as the giveaway combined roughly here in the next few days. Either it might be Friday or Saturday, so you might have a bonus episode. So expect that coming. The channel update, we're going to cover a few different things. I don't want to go into that now because what's the point of watching that video? And then in terms of schedule, right now we've been doing the Monday. Again, this is channel update stuff, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a lot of games that came out, and I've want to talk about them, so I've been contemplating maybe doing a bonus episode. There's so many other channels that do roundups and talk about like everything that's happening at Kickstarter. I try to focus on games that are really personal to me, that I find interesting. So we'll play with that. And again, I'm talking to several of our viewers or subscribers here that have been helping me kind of flesh out my channel and push it in a new direction. So again, thank you to you subscribers. You guys should know who you are. But okay, hopefully that was a lot of rambling. Let's go ahead and cut to the game. So, Burncycle by Chip Theory Games. We are currently on day 7. This was a short campaign. I really wanted to get this out earlier. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it based on the schedule that I'd written out. So I apologize for that, guys, if you guys have been waiting for this video. We're at 2417 backers, $342,996. Very good trajectory up front, but there has been a lot of complaints and questions thrown at Chip Theory for this campaign. First off, short campaign. They claim that they want to give you 110% of their time during their campaign, and they can't do that in a 20 to 30 day campaign, so that's why they do a short one. Just means less time for us to do research. 2, they have VAT shipping. I am not Euro based, so I don't know how VAT affects you guys, but I do know that they are pre-charging VAT for this campaign because they claim that VAT will be required for them to be paid coming January 1st, 2021. So they have information about that in the update section, so you need to make sure you are looking into that if this is important to you, if you are Euro based. Thirdly, as we get to the shipping, Burncycle, or not Burncycle, Chip Theory Games is very much adamant about the type of shipping costs they apply, which means if you are in this region, they will only charge the shipping. It doesn't matter what pledge level you get. Even if you go to the pledge manager, you buy multiple other games, they say this is what you're charged for your shipping. Because of that, they do only one wave shipping. There's a lot of information here, so we're going to cover most of that, but I want to talk real quick about the art direction of the game. One of the biggest complaints that a lot of people have been giving to these guys is that the art and the overall design looks incomplete. And well, it is. It's still prototype. So they're assuring us that the art will look better. Kind of what I have here on the screen. This is what they're calling one of the rooms, the waste room. And they're saying, we promise you the art's going to be improved. I get it that as a backer, as an investor, we're putting a lot more forward into this game, and we want to see completed designs. We want to see more stuff fleshed out before we give you $200 and so, because Chip Theory games are expensive. So I'm glad that they're giving us something. I could understand hesitation here going forward, though, in regards to that. So what is Chip Theory Games? What are they known for? Well, they are known for high-end components. You could almost say that every product they make is a deluxe edition or anniversary edition. Basically, high-end neoprene mats. Everything's neoprene. You could basically say that this entire game should be waterproof. Dice. They use chips for almost all of their games. They're almost all of their games have some sort of like dice drafting, chip management. So they like this space in their gaming world, and this game is no different. So do know going into this, it's going to be a higher priced cost. So Burncycle is going to be a 1 to 4 player. Let me pull this up real quick. 1 to 4 player. Yep. 1 to 4 player solo or cooperative gameplay experience. And what I like about the gameplay is the gameplay looks pretty fleshed out. And so you're going to have this middle section. This is the game board where you are going to be taking your units, your secret ops robots, and infiltrate one of the 4 enemy AI or enemy corporations. This is a game that is about sneaking to complete your objective. It's not going to be like a dungeon crawl with massive combat and everything like that. It's about a cat and mouse like experience. And there's multiple different ways that they have in this game to add interaction. You're going to have your Burncycle, you're going to have your network, you're going to have the action economy, as well as physically what's on the board. So when I talk about the Burncycle, what is the Burncycle? That is the system AI that the robots have created to get past the human corporation's defenses. And so what will happen is you're going to have a bag, like a velvet bag most likely. You're going to reach in and you're going to pull out 5 different tokens. They're action tokens. They're going to be physical, I believe, digital, and command. And those are going to be outlining what actions you can do on this turn. So you're going to fill in them right here. These are the sections for the Burncycle. So as you draw each one, you put them in place. And then where you start your actions are what bonuses you're going to get. The Burncycle is going to create this is what the cycle wants you to do. Now, are you going to play within the constraints of what the Burncycle is going to tell you? If you do, we're going to give you rewards, but it might not be exactly what you're wanting for the situation. So it's going to be kind of plus and minus of what you want to do. And as each player takes their turn, the Burncycle starts locking the bottommost actions until you reset the Burncycle. When you reset the Burncycle, your threat meter goes up because the humans are starting to catch on. So your threat meter is here. As the threat meter goes down, negative effects are applied to you. You might lose one of these action spots of your Burncycle entirely until you get the threat meter down. There's a whole list of them, but that's basically the idea. So as you reset your Burncycle to potentially get more actions and do more powerful things, you are making more threat. On top of that, in the center here, if you can see my mouse, you have your network where you're going to be trying to change your IP address and create actions which will help reduce your threat level. You could there's a whole bunch of things, but at the same time, in the center is the CEO, and he's trying to track you. So he's also sending pings out on this tracker, trying to find where you are located in the network. So you have cat and mouse in multiple different ways. Board, where you're trying to actually complete your objectives and get past guards and obstacles. You've got the Burncycle, which you have to manage and play according to the system. And then you've got the network IP, which is how you kind of manage the threat. But then you have the CEO actively tracking you. So big picture, I like that this is a unique game. I think it's kind of an interesting experience. It's going to be expensive because it's chip theory games. So they're going to have what's in the box. We don't need to really talk too much about this stuff until we get down here. You're going to see that everything is going to be a poker chip. So this is all plastic components. And this is how you tell the heroes, the guards, the captains. And then they have the rooms. So these were originally the art, and these are all neoprene mats. So you're gonna lay these out. They're like mouse pads, okay? And basically based on the building that you are infiltrating will give you a layout that you will discover as you go along. So these arts were placeholders, and I do agree with the backers who came in and said, this looks awful. Why am I going to back this game? Because it looks pretty bad for the size of a game. And Chip Theory, says, hey, this is just placeholders for now. We didn't want to have a bunch of coming soon boxes, because what does that show you? So it's a weird space. What do you guys think? Do you think Chip Theory should have held off their campaign and waited till they had some more art to showcase, or do you just push forward with your prototype stuff and hope that your backers will understand? I do know that these guys have wanted to push this campaign because they're currently working on Cloudspire, the expansion for Cloudspire, and that is effectively done for the most part, except COVID has slowed them down. And so now they're working on what they can work on in the restrictions they can, but their other development team has been moving completely over to Burncycle here. So like, we've got our team working on it. We need to get this going, and we can't sit here waiting forever. So I understand why. So we have scenario books. They have chip trays, dice trays. These are where you're gonna hold all your dice and your chips. Usually these sit alongside you. We're not gonna read the CEO stuff because that's pointless. And I did think it was interesting as I was scrolling this a few days ago at the time, and it might have changed now at the time of this recording, but at the time they didn't have any content creators posting their previews or their playthroughs. I thought it was very interesting. They opted for, I think I just passed it, in-house production, which is fine. But I generally want to see someone that I know what kind of content and stuff that they like, and see if it fits my personality or my tastes. So in-house production, always fine, always appreciative when they do that. But I just thought it was interesting they didn't have any at the time when I was doing my full-time research. I do think that when I was clicking this update though, they had at the very bottom, they had some, I thought I saw some right here. So now they have stuff. But I don't know if this is on the main page as of yet, because obviously I'm still scrolling it. So we'll keep going. Okay, okay. Yeah, see, it's still here, all in-house stuff. So we want to get down to pledge levels, because that's where we want to talk. Because in reality, the biggest question that people get when it comes to pledge levels with Chip Theory is, why is it so expensive? And that's because they use high-end quality materials that are, one, heavy, and two, are more expensive than just cardboard and paper. So for the base game of this game, it's $115. Will include the base game, the Burnout Pledge Manager access. So you just get the Pledge Manager access. So if you want to buy more stuff later, you can. Also to note, there are no Kickstarter exclusives with Chip Theory games. So by buying this game now on Kickstarter and paying shipping costs, you're not getting anything exclusive. Alternatively though, they only sell this retail if a retailer buys a pledge, or they only sell it on their web store, and they are more expensive on their web store. So when they say $15 off MSRP, that is because that's what they're planning on selling at their web store. So if you want it at a discount now, that's why you back now. Burncycle gameplay bundle is $140, includes the Specialist Bot Pack, the Biodefender Corporation access, as well as the Pledge Manor access. That's $35 off MSRP. And then they have the Everything bundle, the Biodefender Corporation, the Specialist Bot Pack, Deluxe Playmat, Deluxe Draw Bag, this stuff here, the Lore Recruitment Portfolio. In terms of aesthetic design, I think this is just one of the ugliest things. I don't know why. It just looks really ugly to me. But then add-on. So here's where they're actually going to break down what is the Specialist Bot Pack, kind of the stuff that we're talking about up here. You can see down here the Biodefend Corporation, and the, random ops. So this is kind of new, which I like, are the actual figurines. $75 for the miniatures is fairly expensive. And so you might not necessarily need it. Is this a game that you are looking for table presence? Is this a game that demands table presence? I don't know. You're going to have to decide that yourself. But $75 is a fairly expensive upfront cost. But I believe they should attach to the chips that they're corresponding with. And you can see that there's a magnet on the bottom. So 8 mech suit guards, 8 unique bots, 4 unique specialty bots will come in this section. And, just everything you'd get in the gameplay bundle here, the recruitment portfolio and whatnot. So I'm a little torn on this one. I'll get to my final thoughts before we get too far. Stretch goals are looking pretty good. Chip Theory is one of those companies that will continually be making stretch goals as long as the game keeps funding, and they are generally more realistic stretch goals. And it's not like a game that's just going to have a bunch of stretch goals that they're going to give you regardless. So that's to note. I want to take a look at shipping levels, because that is the next important factor. So the shipping, if I remember correctly, the VAT cost, here we go. The VAT cost is going to be charged secondary on top of this. But I would highly recommend anyone in EU to please research this to make sure that you know exactly what your shipping cost is. But regardless of how much stuff you get, $10 shippings in the US is a steal. And that's because they're subsidizing shipping. You're going to have to get one-wave shipping, but it's not too bad. So that's something to consider. And then again, this is where they talk more about those taxes and VATs. So we're going to swing over to my face and finish with what I would recommend if I were to back this game. Personally, I have always been a fan of Chip Theory games. I like their deluxeified stuff, and I plan on making a video soon about my collection and why I choose certain games to fit into my collection instead of just buying everything I can. I want to be selective, and one of those things that I like to pick are kind of deluxeified feeling games that kind of are unique and not something that you're going to see in everyone's house if you were to go to another gamer's house. And Chip Theory, to me, has kind of filled that role. It's one of the reasons I like it. I do like what I'm seeing in terms of the scope of the game is the gameplay. I think it's unique and different enough for me to take a look at it. But I want to see gameplay before I want to see some people play that's not the developers to get a better idea if this fit would be a better fit for my group. I personally would try to stay away from the minis, as I don't think that this game is going to be one that I would feel like I need them for. When I'm looking at my other Chip Theory stuff, I think they're fine, and I think that the little chips are unique. But I could see FOMO coming to an aspect of this campaign where you're like, I just want the minis. I just want them. So I could definitely see that. Overall, I think this is going to be a fine back. It's a safe back. Most Chip Theory games have held their value just fine through the years. But Chip Theory games are not for everyone. I've seen a lot of people not enjoy their gameplay aspects and to the rules. Too Many Bones has done very well. I haven't had Cloudspire arrive yet, so I don't know about that one. So again, it's not a 100% yes, back this. It's not one of those games that I think this is a perfect slam dunk. I think there's enough question marks here to question it. So what I would recommend, if I were you and I was interested in this game, the minimum pledge to get into the pledge manager is $5. It's not $1, it's $5. So I would consider backing at the $5 level if I was like leaning more yes. And then as the campaign progresses, see what they're providing you in terms of value, and see, is this game going to fit what I want? You can always pick this game up again in another Chip Theory pledge if they do another campaign at some point, which they usually do. They usually do about 9-month to 1 year cycles. You can probably pick this up again then through the pledge manager. So it's something to consider at that point. Like, do I want to pick this up at another point? If you want to wait, and I wouldn't doubt you too waiting, because there's a lot of unknowns in this one. The art being one. I want to see gameplay from publisher or from content creators being two. So there's stuff that I am willing to wait on, and wouldn't complain for anyone doing that. So that is my review of Burncycle, and I hope this was helpful. It was a harder one for me to cover because it's not as a complete campaign as I think it should have been. I think it probably could have used maybe one more week in editing to really clean it up and get the campaign flowing at a better pace. And it's showing that because it has stagnated a little bit on KickTrack, it had a great launch, but that's because Chip Theory games generally have a great launch. But it's stagnating a little bit for the amount of time left in the campaign. So definitely excited for it though. I'm going to be watching this one very closely, and I will let you guys know, hopefully sooner rather than later, whether I am backing this one or not. So that's it. If you guys liked this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on top of for YouTube. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, shows them we like this kind of content and we want to see more. If you are new to the show and you like this, please hit that subscribe button. We do these Kickstarter reviews all the time, so make sure you subscribe and join the community. For everyone else, thank you again for leaving comments and talking my head off. If you want to leave a hashtag Burncycle, we can talk about the game and what you guys think. I'd love to read them. Talk to you all very soon. Goodbye.